Um, well, Devin Demas is a step ahead of everybody else as of right now. Part of that has to do with he can operate the best and go out there. But those other guys, Ryan Wolpett, Corey Young, so far have had a good summer. So I expect big things out of those guys, and even more so because those three new running backs that are here, and we've had multiple conversations just sitting them down and looking them in their eye and say, these three new guys are here to take your job, and I expect you to take their job, and then I expect you guys not to let them.
Mm-hmm.
So just creating that competition in that room, it's been a good thing so far. Just because I can tell it's a little bit different when those guys are running decks, when they're lifting, they're putting a little bit more extra effort, and they might not notice it as much as I do, just because obviously I'm used to watching them, but I can tell there's been a fire lit, and it's been a good thing.
With Robert and Alexander, what are the chances we see one of those guys actually get on the field this year?
Pretty high, I would probably say.
Yeah.
Just being honest.
Yeah.
Just because, we're not going into it thinking, let's redshirt these guys. We're going into it going, okay, what can these guys do for us?
Mm-hmm.
And if they can handle it, they can do those things, and it's going to be good.
Is the running back position, what are the demands in terms of pass blocking and knowing the skeet coverages? What is it a position that a true freshman can come in and have success at, or is it tough usually, or what's kind of the...
It would be tough physically and mentally, but the nice part about the running back position is you don't necessarily have to know what everyone is doing right off the bat.
Okay.
It's kind of something you can learn as you come along. So the more reps they'll get, they'll start understanding this is why we do things. But as long as they really understand, okay, this is my alignment, this is what my assignment is, and now coach is telling me to be special after that, then he could play fast.
Yeah.
So it's just really let's just dumb this down. Okay, don't think about where the wide receivers are or what's going on. What is your alignment and your assignment? That's all I want you to focus on right now.
Yeah.
And the nice part is we have, our first 3 practices, we're going to have a chance to really see those young guys play a lot.
Yeah.
And get them our base offense and say, okay, can these guys operate in this base offense? And because if they can, then the other stuff will come.
With Devin, it's hard to believe he's still here. It seems like he's been here forever. But when the word potential is obviously used with him a lot, and his speed at times maybe it hasn't shown on the field. And I think last year he kind of got buried. I think after the Utah State game, I'm not sure he had another carry the rest of the season.
Yeah.
What is he doing differently? What that you've to put him above, and what also has been kind of holding him back the last couple of years from really being that guy that it sounds like he can be?
One is that he knows that he has an opportunity to really be a major contributor for our team, and I really feel like he knows that. Before, Jay was here, and it was kind of like, hey, it's only Jay. Last year we had Kelsey who came in and who was a good player, and Kelsey just kind of said, hey, this is what I'm here to do, and I'm beating everybody else out. I'm trying to beat J-Mac out. And that's kind of like the competition that Kelsey had in his mind. And then, so Devin kind of got lost a little bit. But now he knows it's go time. So, and you can see it as far as just, okay, when he's doing a drill, agility drill, his finish, certain things that he does that I notice that maybe no one else notices because I know him pretty well. And just going like, okay, that's good. That's good to see.
Yeah.
And then just kind of continue to develop those great habits that we need him to be, because I tell the guys all the time, I don't need you to be good, I need you to be great, because great is what's going to help us win a championship. Good is just going to be good. That's average to me now. It's just kind of the culture that we even have within our team is that, we're good last year, but that's not our standard.
Yeah.
We want to be great. Each team we want to go down in history as one of the best teams ever. And when people talk about those teams. So when I vision the running back room, I want my guys to have a fat head. I want them to play in the NFL. I want them to move on and maybe make a little bit of money for their family and those things. I want them to have that perception, that reputation, their legacy that they leave to be great. And Devin knows that.
Yeah.
Just like all my guys know that when they leave this place, there's only one way you should leave this place. And that's with everyone thinking in their mind, that guy right there is awesome.
Yeah.
He'll go down as one of the best running backs ever. So the expectations are high in that room for all those guys.
Is Jeremy a guy that fits that mold? I mean, is he a guy that if he can do again what he this season, what he did last season, and even take that step, that he is a guy that should be thinking of having his picture on the wall there in that room?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shoot, we could maybe even argue he's had the greatest season ever as a running back, to be honest with you. I mean, there's been some guys that had some really, really good seasons.
Yeah.
But the way he did it, and it was almost almost a quiet, productive year for him. Like, we all knew he was leading the country in scoring, and he played in 3 less games than Derrick Henry did. And imagine if he would have played in 3 more. Shoot, who knows? We might be talking about 30 plus for sure, hopefully. Well, hopefully, you never know. Touchdowns. And so if he can just, replicate, that would be good for the Broncos.
Yeah.
I just think the biggest thing with Jeremy is just what he does, not handing the ball to him, whether that's blocking or whether that's being a decoy or with the ball in his hands, just being a very physical finisher. And that's kind of one of the things that we talk about in my room, is that every play we should be finishing with a physicality where people go back and be like, it's either yes or no when we watch film. And that's the way it needs to be, and hopefully we do that.
I mean, there's some good running backs in this conference, but he wasn't one of the 2 picked for preseason team. Is that, knowing him, is that something, maybe not on a 3rd and 2 carry in some random game, but is that something that is at least caught his eye or caught your guy's eye, that people don't think he's one of the 2 best running backs in the league?
Which is funny. I don't like reading the newspaper or looking at those things. I know he knows about it, but at the same time, that's not going to fuel his fire, probably even more so than what he's already put in his mind. I mean, because he's the kind of guy where if you gave him 4 weeks off and you told our guys, like, hey, your body needs to recover, he's probably only going to take 4 days out of those 4 weeks, and probably going to be Sundays. He's going to work out 6 days a week for 2.5 hours a day. That's just the kind of kid he is. I never worry about if he loves the game or if he's going to put in the time, because he definitely is going to put in the time.
Yeah.
But creating maybe that little bit of an edge, I hope it does.
Doesn't hurt, right?
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, I mean, the only one that can prove people wrong or, prove it to his own self is him.
Yeah. So I know you guys talking in spring about trying to limit some of the big hits and stuff like that. I mean, do you feel like that's actually going to be something you guys are focusing on? I mean, once he gets out there on the field and it's going, is it hard to really coach that out of somebody? Or how do you look at his physicality is such a positive trait that he brings, and you don't want to coach that out of him, but you also don't want to miss him games because of concussions too.
Well, there's a way you can take hits. Some of them we don't see. But I think if you kind of go into a game or in practice talking about it like, hey, we're trying to not get you, hit or whatever it is, then I think bad things happen. Whenever you do that, that's not. I don't think that's a positive thing. And I know we kind of talked about it a little bit in the spring, but what I would tell him is that, hey, look, you're going to get these plays, and you better make sure everybody remembers every single one of them.
Yeah.
So, we're going to get you the plays that you need to get, and make sure people remember them.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I think that's how you have to coach every single guy. So, if we told Jeremy, hey, you're going to touch the ball 100 times in a row, you better bring it 100 times in a row and not worry about everything else, because, I mean, this is football, and, we'll let the chips fall where they're supposed to.
I think last year he had a game with like 40-something touches or whatever, and we all talked about Jay, and then he topped him the very next year. I mean, how do you weigh that? Because you obviously want to get your best players the ball as much as possible, but you also want to keep them fresh, keep them healthy, and get the other guys involved. Do you want to see his workload come down a little, go up, or do you see it from that standpoint?
Shoot, I'm good with his workload right now.
Yeah.
As long as he's productive, that's just the way. What we look at is how productive are you on each time you touch the ball. If you can, let's say for example you touch the ball 200 times, and every 10 times you score. I mean, that's
Yeah.
some pretty good numbers there,
Yeah.
especially for a running back. So we kind of look at that is that how productive is he, and we'll move from there. And it's been good so far.
With the coaches, obviously Coach Harsin calling the plays, people making a big deal about that probably just because what he did calling the plays before. But as coaches, we got co-coordinators and passing game coordinators and all this, and him calling the plays. How's that kind of all, amongst the staff kind of gone and figured, how's that been, and how do you see that going moving forward?
It's actually been good because he's always had his hands into our offense, because it's an offense that was here before him, and when he was here with Pete, they were able to continue to, put steps on that offense to make it better. So it's been good. I mean, it's crazy just the memory bank that he has when he goes in and you talk about a play, and he's like, we ran this play back in 2007 and against New Mexico State. I'm like, how do you remember that? Like, how long ago was that? That was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's been good just having him involved, and with our offensive staff has been awesome. I mean, just far as just us meshing and talking in our staff, in our room, has just been unbelievable. And then when Coach is in there, he's like, hey, we should do this, and then we're throwing ideas out. And sometimes we don't like those ideas, and sometimes even if he suggests something we don't like it, he's like, then we're not doing it. If you guys don't like it, or sometimes him be the boss. It's just like, hey, we're doing it, and we're like, okay, and then we're like, all right, that was pretty good. So, and that's with any staff, whether that was the head coach coming in and just the OC, or it doesn't really matter. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's just us figuring out what works best for us.
You've been asking some of the guys kind of what motivates you going into the season to keep hearing just 9-4. I mean, I know you're not around them a ton in the summer, but you get around them. You pretty much know the pulse of the team. I mean, do you feel like this group's a little motivated off last year, even though it finished strong? It wasn't the overall season.
I was here a lot.
Yeah.
Part of because obviously, my wife works at this school and stuff like that, but I had 3 new young running backs, and June were pretty much here because of camps. So I was around a lot, meeting with those guys, and if they have questions or whatever it is, making sure they're good. So I didn't really get a chance to get away this summer.
Do you get a sense this is a motivated team though, as a whole after last year?
I loved this summer. This was a good summer. It really was. Now, whether that means we'll win more games, shoot, obviously time, I have no idea. But just as far as the vibe and the feel that I get, I really feel good about this year, and this summer especially, just kind of going into it. And the leadership that we have coming in, it's been really, really good. And even some of our young guys like Rippon and Jeremy, who are just, those guys are just a year older, so you're just getting a more mature, young men that are coming into that room, in that locker room, and commanding respect, a presence. No, this is not the way we're going to do this. We're going to do it this way. It's been good.
Cool, Coach. Appreciate it. That's all I need.
Yep.